Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's workshop. And it's just a workshop, no longer a watch party. This week's topic, guys, is interpersonal relationships. All right? So, let's get started with our announcements as usual. Maybe I should move this back just a little bit. There we go. Push this back a smidge. There, that's better. Now everything is on the screen. Awesome. So we'll get started with our announcements. I've already welcomed you all to today's workshop. The watch party feature has now been removed from Facebook, and our team is looking at changing the format of how we do our workshops to make them more interactive for us all. Okay, so please bear with us, guys, as we go through this transition over the month. We have a few ideas, and we're going to be trying a few different things out that will involve us having to make sure everybody is signed up on specific apps or has access to YouTube, so on and so forth. So again, bear with us. And it seems like since most of you have Facebook, the next features to come should possibly be quite easy for you all to access, which would be great. This month is Sexual Violence Awareness Month, and we will be covering topics on different types of relationships and how to stay safe while building relationships both personally and professionally. Again, I want to thank you all for participating no matter what time it is. You are all great and we appreciate you. Just to remind you all, workshops are happening every Tuesday and Thursday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. We also have a YouTube page where we post our videos weekly that any of you may access with a request to do so at any time. Also remember to like our videos after watching it. All right. Okay, guys. So before we get into this week's workshop topic, let's review last week's topic. Last week, I covered the remaining EPSS newsletters to get us all caught up. My question to you guys today is, what industries did I talk about in the newsletters, and which one interested you most? You have 2 minutes starting now. Five, four, three, two, and one. Thanks, guys, for your guesses. And thank you for sharing which one had interested you most. I myself was most interested in the computer tech newsletter. And just as a review, the industries that I had covered in last week's workshop was the retail industry, the construction industry, oil and gas industry, and the computer tech industry. Awesome. Now, to begin our discussion for today and for this month, let's start by defining what an interpersonal relationship is, because we're going to be getting into details of interpersonal relationships today. First off, I do have another question for you guys. Like I said, I'm very excited to make these workshops a little bit more interactive because I miss having you guys involved in the workshops. But even though the watch party feature has been shut down, I'm still going to be asking you guys questions and giving you the 2 minutes to answer. Because remember, I will be watching and participating during the workshops as soon as they're posted too, right? So we're still able to respond to your answers. And this is only temporary, guys, just until we figure out a better solution, okay? So I have another question for you guys, okay? And I'll give you another 2 minutes. What do you guys think an interpersonal relationship is? You have 2 minutes starting now. Five, four, three, two, and one. Thanks for sharing, guys. Appreciate you trying to guess on what an interpersonal relationship is. And for those of you who were spot on, thank you. I'll still review it anyways, though. An interpersonal relationship is a strong, deep, or close connection or acquaintance between two or more people that may last for a long time or short time. This connection may be based on suggestion, love, unity, regular work interactions, or some other types of social commitments such as church, leagues, volunteer positions, clubs, neighborhoods, and places of worship. These relationships may be kept up because of law, custom, or an agreement between people and are the base of social and society groups as a whole. There are many different types of interpersonal relationships. There are intimate relationships, lovers, significant others, spouses, family relationships, friendships, enemies or frenemies, neighbors, business relationships, partnerships, employer and employee, contractor, customer, landlord and tenant, and official relationships. Now I have another question for you guys. See, this one's real interactive. And like I said, I'm still going to ask the questions because I want you guys participating, especially for this one because I know there's a lot of questions in regards to different types of relationships within and without the workplace. So, question for you all. Can you all give me some examples of what kinds of interpersonal relationships you have? Okay? You have 2 minutes starting now. Five, four, three, two, one, and done. All right, guys, thank you for sharing. Great. So now that you have all told me what kinds of interpersonal relationships you have, we can now break down what each type of relationship is explained as. This might give you some clarity on what each of your relationships are supposed to look like if you place it under a specific title. Our first interpersonal relationship type is intimate relationships. An intimate relationship is an interpersonal, sorry guys, I'll just bring up the whole slide, there we go. An intimate relationship is an interpersonal relationship that involves physical and or emotional intimacy. Physical intimacy is described as friendship, non-sexual love, romantic love, or sexual activity. While the term intimate relationship usually means the inclusion of a sexual relationship, the term is also used as another word for a relationship that is strictly sexual. Intimate relationships play a central role in the overall human experience. How many of you guys are in an intimate relationship at this time? Feel free to answer as I go along through the rest of this slide. Humans have a general desire to belong and to love, which is usually satisfied within an intimate relationship. These relationships involve feelings of liking or loving one or more people, romance, physical or sexual attraction, sexual relationships, or emotional and personal support between each person. Intimate relationships allow a social network for people to form strong emotional connections. Now, under the title of intimate relationships, there are 3 different types: lovers, significant others, and spouses, husband and wife. Lovers are a person or persons who is in love with one another. Significant other is used as a casual, gender-neutral term for a person's partner in an intimate relationship without revealing or assuming anything about marital status, relationship status, or sexual orientation. Synonyms with similar properties include sweetheart, better half, spouse, domestic partner, lover, soulmate, or life partner. Now, under the title of intimate relationships, like I said, there are the 3 different types. Oh, sorry. I forgot that I had separated these slides in the past, and I had left a bit of an introduction of the 3 different types in the previous slide. Okay, so I just finished off with explaining what significant others are called, and a spouse. Okay, a spouse is a life partner in holy matrimony, marriage, civil union, domestic partnership, or a common law marriage. The term is gender neutral, whereas a male spouse is a husband and a female spouse is a wife. Although a spouse is a form of significant other, the latest term also includes non-marital partners who play a social role similar to that of a spouse, but do not have rights and duties reserved by law to a spouse. If you guys have any questions about these types of relationships, please post them below, and I will answer them as quickly as I can. Okay? Great. Our second interpersonal relationship type is family relationships. In the context of human society, a family is a group of people connected either by recognized birth, by marriage, or another relationship, by co-residence, or some combination of these. Members of the immediate family may include spouses, parents, brothers, sisters, sons, and daughters. Members of the extended family may include grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, nephews, nieces, and siblings-in-law. Sometimes these are also considered members of the immediate family, depending on an individual's specific relationship with them. So these would be people that you aren't related to by any way, but they have possibly been a family friend. Who is you, mom? Or, sorry guys, who is your mom or dad's best friend? Geez, I have a few typos in this one. Who you have known as an uncle or an auntie since you were little. Okay, so can you guys give me an example of members of your family? Some examples of mine are my mom, my dad, my sisters. I have a few really good family friends that I call mom as well, or auntie or uncle, right? They're not related to me by blood, but I've pretty much known them my whole lives, and I was pretty much raised in their households as well as my own, and they had taken care of me, and we grew up with their kids and like all kinds of stuff, right? So their family is our family still, and kind of like that we connect, and it's not by blood, but it's just by that relationship that has been built over the years. All right, guys. So before moving on, I have another question for you all. Who here has a friend or best friend? And what are the things that you look for in a friend? Okay, you again have 2 minutes starting now. Four, three, two, one, and done. Thanks for sharing, everybody. Our next interpersonal relationship type is friendships. Friendship is a relationship of mutual care between people. Friendship is a stronger form of an interpersonal bond than making an acquaintance. Friendship has been studied by many different people in lots of different school programs, such as communication, etc. Although there are many forms of friendships, some of which may change from place to place, certain characteristics are present in many types of such bonds. These characteristics include affection, kindness, love, sympathy, empathy, honesty, loyalty, mutual understanding, and compassion. Enjoyment of each other's company, trust, the ability to be yourself, express your feelings to others, and make mistakes without fear of judgment from the friend. Another type of interpersonal relationship are enemies or frenemies. An enemy is an individual or a group that is seen as hostile or threatening. The concept of an enemy has been observed to be basic for both individuals and communities. The term enemy serves the social function of labeling a particular person or thing as a threat, thereby creating a strong negative emotional response to that person or thing. Do any of you have a frenemy? Feel free to post your answers below. Frenemy is an oxymoron and a mix of friend and enemy. That refers to a person with whom one is friendly, despite a dislike or beef. A person who combines the characteristics of a friend and an enemy. The term is used to describe personal, political, and profitable relationships both among individuals and groups or institutions. Now we move on to neighborhoods. A neighborhood is a geographically, which means of or relating to the natural features, population, industries, etc., of a region or regions, localized community within a larger city, town, suburb, or rural area. Neighborhoods are often social communities with considerable face-to-face interaction among members. Researchers have not agreed on an exact definition, but the following may serve as a starting point. Neighborhood is generally defined spatially as a specific geographic area and functionally as a set of social networks. Neighborhoods, then, are the spatial units in which face-to-face social interactions occur. The personal settings and situations where residents seek to realize common values, socialize youth, and maintain effective social control. Neighborhoods are typically generated by social interaction among people living near one another. In this sense, they are local social units larger than households that are not directly under the control of city or state officials. In some pre-industrial urban traditions, basic community functions such as protection, social guidelines of births and marriages, cleaning, and upkeep are handled casually by neighborhoods and not by urban governments. This pattern is very recognized for historical Islamic cities. Now, there are many different types of business relationships, such as partnerships, employers and employees, contractor, customer, landlords and tenants as well. A partnership is an arrangement where parties known as partners agree to cooperate to advance their mutual interest. The partners in a partnership may be individuals, businesses, interest-based organizations, schools, governments, or combinations. Organizations may partner to increase the likelihood of each achieving their mission and to amplify their reach. A partnership may result in issuing and holding equity or may be only governed by a contract. An employee gives labor and expertise in a workplace for an employer or a person conducting a business or a job and is usually hired to perform specific duties which are packaged into a job. In a business context, an employee is a person who is hired to provide services to a company on a regular basis in exchange for money and who doesn't provide these services as part of a separate business. An independent contractor is an actual person, business, or company that provides goods or services to another individual under the terms specified in a contract or within a verbal agreement. Unlike an employee, an independent contractor does not work regularly for an employer, but works as and when required, during which time he or she may be subject to a different law of business. Independent contractors are usually paid on a freelance basis. Contractors often work through a limited company or contract, which they themselves own, or may work through an umbrella company. In sales, buying and selling, a customer, sometimes known as a client, buyer, or purchaser, is the recipient of a good, service, product, or an idea obtained from a seller, vendor, or supplier via financial transaction or exchange for money or some other valuable thought. A landlord is the owner of a house, apartment, condo, land, or real estate which is rented or leased to an individual or business, who is called a tenant, leasee, or renter. When a person versed in law is in this position, the term landlord is used. Other terms include lessor or owner. The term landlady may be used for women owners, and lessor applies to both genders. It's that time again. Question time, guys. So, can you give me some examples of an employer and employee relationship that you are a part of? You have 2 minutes starting now. Four, three, two, one, and thank you guys. Thank you for sharing. Official relationships. An official is someone who holds an office in an organization or government and participates in the exercise, of authority, either their own or that of their superior and or employer, public or legally private. This is what makes an official relationship. A government official or representative is an official who is involved in public administration or government through either election, appointment selection, or employment. An office holder or civil servant is a member of the administration. An elected official is a person who is an official by virtue of an election. Officials may also be appointed ex officio by virtue of another office. Often in specified capacities such as presiding, advisory, secretary. Some official positions may be inherited in your life. A person who currently holds an office is referred to as a mandatory official. And it looks like these two gentlemen, one is our Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, but Donald Trump is no longer President of the United States. So it's about time that I change that picture, I guess, hey? So now we have went through the different types of interpersonal relationships. Let's move on to the importance of them. Human beings are naturally social and are shaped by their experiences with others. There are multiple ways to understand this natural motivation to interact with others. With this said, I'm going to give you guys 3 main examples of the importance of interpersonal relationships. They are the need to belong, social exchange, and relational self. According to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, humans need to feel love, sexual, non-sexual, and acceptance from social groups, family, or friends. In fact, the need to belong is so naturally rooted that it may be strong enough to overcome physiological, and safety needs, such as children's attachment to abusive parents or staying in abusive romantic relationships. Such examples illustrate the extent to which the psychobiological drive to belong is rooted. Another way to appreciate the importance of relationships is in terms of a reward structure. This view suggests that individuals engage in relations that are rewarding in both tangible and intangible ways. The idea fits into a larger idea of social exchange. This model is based on the idea that relationships develop as a result of cost-benefit analysis. Individuals seek out rewards in interactions with others and are willing to pay a cost for said rewards. In the best case scenario, rewards will exceed costs, producing a net gain. This can lead to shopping around or constantly comparing alternatives to maximize the benefits or rewards while maximizing the cost. Relationships are also important for their ability to help individuals develop a sense of self. The relational self is the part of an individual's self-concept that consists of the feelings and beliefs that one has regarding oneself that develops based on interactions with others. In other words, one's emotions and behaviors are shaped by past relationships. Thus, relational self theory suggests that past and existing relationships influence one's emotions and behaviors and interactions with new individuals, particularly those individuals that remind him or her of others in his or her life. Studies have shown that exposure to someone who resembles a significant other activates specific self-beliefs, changing how one thinks about oneself in the moment, more so than exposure to someone who does not resemble one's significant other. Power and dominance. Now, in each relationship, there is a big or little fight for power and dominance in a relationship. Power is the ability to influence the behavior of people. When two parties have or affirm unequal levels of power, one is termed dominant and the other submissive. Expressions of dominance can communicate intention to affirm or maintain dominance in a relationship. Being submissive can be beneficial because it saves time, emotional stress, and may avoid hostile actions such as withholding of resources, ending of cooperation, termination of relationship, maintaining a grudge, or even physical violence. Submission occurs in different degrees. For example, some employees may follow orders without question, whereas others might express disagreement but agree when pressed. Groups of people can form a dominance pyramid. For example, a categorized organization uses a command pyramid for top-down management. This can reduce time wasted and conflict over unimportant decisions, prevents random decisions from harming the operations of the organization, maintain alignment of a large population of workers with the goals of the owners, which the workers might not personally share. And if promotion is based on merit, help make important decisions. This contrasts with group decision-making and systems which encourage decision-making and self-organization by frontline employees, who in some cases may have better information about customer needs or how to work well. Dominance is only one aspect of organizational structure. In business relationships, dominance is often associated with economic power. For example, a business may adopt a submissive attitude to customer preferences, stalking what customers want to buy, and complaints. The customer is always right, in order to earn more money. A firm with dominant power may be less responsive to customer complaints because it can afford to adopt a dominant position. In a business partnership, a silent partner is one who adopts a submissive position in all aspects, but retains financial ownership and a share of the profits. Two parties can be dominant in different areas. For example, in a friendship or romantic relationship, One person may have strong opinions about where to eat dinner, whereas the other has strong opinions about how to decorate a shared space. It could be beneficial for the person with weak preferences to be submissive in that area, because it will not make them unhappy and avoids conflict with the person that would be unhappy. And that is where I'm going to end for today, as this is a 2-part workshop. So, what I'd like everybody to do is join us on Thursday. Reopening. Thank you for joining us for today's workshop, everybody. We are always happy to have you all participating with us every week. Please join us for the workshop discussion on Thursday, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Okay? One second. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I guess this is my older workshop on here. So, remember, guys, please check our page for any updates on job fairs, job postings, any employment information within the week on top of the workshops that we have posted. And we also, just a reminder, have our YouTube page. So if you would like access to that, please just reach out to us. We can give you the link. It's not a problem. We post our videos that we record on here, on YouTube as well, so that everybody gets an opportunity to watch and participate. And please remember to like our video after watching. For those of you who have made previous arrangements with your staff, please continue to do so. At this point in time, I don't think there is anybody with any specific arrangements on Facebook or YouTube. Those of you who weren't on Facebook before are now on Facebook, so welcome. It's really nice to have you all with us, participating every week. So guys, we will be having our discussion this Thursday at 11 a.m. Please join us. We're going to be recapping this week's and last week's newsletter, as well as discussing and recapping this Tuesday's workshop. Please join and participate then, okay, everybody? Thank you and have an awesome week.